And there we go. Welcome, visionaries and change makers, to Lead with LeAnn, where we navigate the waters of business with heart and purpose. Airing every week at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. in my time zone, Central Time, exclusively on winwinwomen.tv. I'm LeAnn Lyon, your Chief Joy Officer, here to empower you with strategies, insights, and a splash of fun. Isn't that intro music just so exciting? I just love it so much. Anyway, so each week on Lead with LeAnn, you will join me as we delve into the inspiring stories of established leaders and innovative entrepreneurs, and we'll uncover just what it takes to build a brand from scratch, lead with authority and grace, and turn business aspirations into tangible successes. So, anchor down, set your sails, and let's dive into the art of joyful leadership. Get ready to be inspired because your journey to business brilliance starts right now. And my guest today is Adriana Vela. She is a best-selling author, a brain science, systems, and EQ expert, AI certified consultant, neuro AI integration architect, inspiration, international speaker, advisor in human performance mastery, award-winning entrepreneur, and she's here as my guest today. I was going to say, Adriana, are you there? But she already is. You're going to have to unmute, my friend. All good.
Right. That's right. I am here. I'm here with bells on, and I love your intro music. It was just like, oh, I was like over here, kind of dancing.
Oh, good. Oh, wonderful. So what did I miss? I mean, we got your business bio there, but I mean, tell me about you. What else is going on in your life?
Wow. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I really appreciate it. And one of the things that I really like is to inspire others because we really do have so much strength, especially women. We have just so much strength and resilience that we either are not aware of.
Oops, oops, somehow you got muted. Go ahead and unmute again. That we are not aware. Go ahead.
Oh, sure, that we are either not aware or we take it for granted as like, well, doesn't everybody just do this? And the answer is no. No, not at all. So we need to recognize it in my coaching, because I do leadership coaching, and I base it or I utilize a lot of my brain science training. I use neuroscience validated assessments that really pull out, you know, who you are, how you do what you do, why you do what you do, and
Mhm.
uncover you know a, a, a treasure trove of the things that you can do. But it also uncovers biases that you might have, blind spots, and those blind spots and biases affect our decision making abilities.
Mhm.
It can also just get in the way of you moving forward.
100%.
So I
And
love doing that. That's like, one of the best things that I'd like to do.
yeah, well, and it's wonderful to have a passion that we actually turn into our, our vocation as well. And not everybody gets to do that. And I love what you actually just said already. You said, not everybody can get what we do. I mean, I've come to the realization really only in the past few weeks or maybe months that the numerous things that I do are way beyond what most people even want to do. I always knew that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. The statistics that I found is that 41% of people, of Americans specifically, dream of being an entrepreneur. That means 59% are like, you could have it, not interested. And then of those 40, of the 41%, though, only 9% actually have, their own business that they have as their full-time business. There's a lot of side hustles out there, a lot of dreaming, but there's only 9% of people that report on their tax statements that they are self-employed.
Mm. Nice.
So it's
Wow.
not for everybody.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And I would even venture to say that some of those that say it's not for me, that one of two things. Either they are a lot smarter than some of us entrepreneurs, and they say, no, I can tell just how much you're going to work harder than you ever did, longer than you ever did, and or they do not believe in themselves, or maybe it really just isn't their cup of tea. So, so yes, there is that third option, or third situation. Uh,
Yeah.
for the ones that don't believe in themselves, that's where people like myself, as a leadership coach, it's like it's not just about leading in a business scenario, it's about leading yourself. And one of the things that I believe make the best leaders is the ones who can lead themselves first before leading others.
Hmm. Sounds like a prerequisite if you ask me.
Well, it really is. It soft sell it, sell the concept that of just how important that is. So,
So we'll get back to business in a minute, but I have a couple other questions. Where do you live?
oh, so I am in the wonderful state of Washington, that
Okay.
Pacific Northwest, and yes, it we did start the rainy season, but we have like a lot of different um times that it's just so beautiful, and it doesn't rain, or we have a lot of pockets even during the rainy season. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, that on a yearly basis, the number of inches of rain in Washington is lower than in other states.
Okay.
So it's not that it's raining cats and dogs every single day. It's just that there's a lot of light, sprinkles and showers.
Right.
But in terms of the amount of water that falls in terms of inches, it's nowhere near some of these other states, even like Arizona or other, or even Texas, because there when it rains, I mean, it hurts, because I know, because I used to live in Texas.
Well, I'll say Minnesota kind of falls into that. In fact, it's interesting that in the metro, the Twin Cities metro, Minneapolis, St. Paul, there's kind of a ring of freeways called, we don't call it the loop, other cities do, but it's a 494, 694 ring. And when you get below that ring, we call this area South Metro. And I moved into the South Metro 16 years ago. And I was shocked at how much more severe the storms seem to be in the South Metro when we get away from some of the buildings and stuff. And I think it's just the way that the atmosphere works that it interrupts. I don't know. It just was not this severe when I was inside the ring. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, some other perspective. But yeah, it's fascinating how things change from place to place. And I've been in Texas when even the airport got shut down, not for snow, but for rain. I mean, that's an intense storm.
It's very intense when you can't see 2 feet ahead of you because of the pouring rain. That's one of the
You can
scariest.
adjust your microphone just a little towards you.
Yes, one of the things that I remember was very, very scary, being in the highway, and I had to pull over because I could not see
Yeah.
2 feet in front of my car, and I was at the same time very scared that somebody was gonna plow behind me. So I was just hoping that everyone had pulled over and
Yeah.
waited for just that little break to be able to
Yeah.
go forward.
Yeah. I've driven in rain like that as well. And I've been out to Washington. Washington State is gorgeous. It's one of the 49 states that I've been privileged to visit so far. And the jumping off point for the state that I haven't been to yet. So I think you know which one that is.
Um, California?
Nope, Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. Oh, jumping off from here. Yes.
Jumping off from, yep. So you have to a lot of people take cruises up to Alaska, starting in, I think, Seattle or something. Not Seattle, though. Not Seattle's the wrong place. Or is
Uh,
it Seattle?
yes, there's a port in Seattle. from where you catch a lot of the cruises.
Okay, cruises. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And what else besides business and besides neuroplasticity and neuro stuff? What do you do for fun?
Well, for fun, I love, love, love to garden, propagate plants, and I like kayaking. We have some rivers here very close. I love hiking, and I love pickleball. It's my new obsession.
You and several million other people, apparently.
Yeah. Now, I've always been into some kind of sport or other. Played softball, I played handball, competitive. I used to do a lot of martial arts,
You
competitive.
do?
Oh, really? I
Yep.
so and then oh, black belt. Nice.
Yep. For people listening on the podcast, I just showed my black belt. So go
Yeah,
ahead. Not everybody's visual, by the way, so I do have to explain things once in a while.
of course. Now, I didn't get to black belt because I moved. I would move and then I would start a new arts, a new martial art, and I would start myself from white belt.
Yep.
'Cause it's a respect for the art. You don't
Mhm.
want to walk in there just because you were already intermediate somewhere else that you can presume to just keep that rank.
Right.
I believe you have to earn it. And I think that's just real being, having integrity and
Mhm.
respect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I've been out of it for a couple of years, but now my intention is to get back into it. I will have to join a different group, but it's all under the same umbrella. I'll go to the same, I'm with ATA, and so there's another ATA nearby. But yeah, I'll develop the rapport with the leader before I just walk in and say, but I have a black belt. I legit earned a black belt through ATA. They're not going to not recognize that.
no, when you're in the same system,
Yeah,
absolutely.
same system. So my intention is to get to, well, first of all, second degree, and then from there on. Long ago, I said I'd like to get to a fourth degree, so that will take a little bit of effort, but I believe all things are possible, even at my age.
I know it's not possible for me at my age. Almost retirement age. Well,
Mhm.
thankfully I'm retirement age.
Yeah, I know a gentleman who started when he was 60, and he is now a seventh degree black belt.
Wow.
And he was a white belt when he was 60. He started because he needed to get his grandson into something. And so I knew him and his grandson, and he ended up being one of my instructors, the gentleman as well.
Wow. Well, that's nice when you can retire and you just have the time to do what you want to do. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's great. I mean, respects to him
For real, absolutely.
and to you. And I hope that you will continue. I mean, I know you will because you have that go-getter, and I don't think anyone can hold you back. So this is why you're perfect for doing this to inspire other women to
Oh, thank you.
be who they really want to be and not wait to be told or influenced. And there's so much noise out there.
Yeah.
Um, and one of those things, by the way, that is affecting us mentally, both our mental health and also our outlook for the future, and that is AI. And um, as an AI certified consultant and neuroscience architect, I look at both sides. I look at the human performance and I look at the technology and where those two meet. My goal with my consulting business is to help leaders be better leaders during transformation, because a transformation is happening one way or another, but there's a lot of uncertainty and fears, in humans, and you can't blame them, for that. And it's also at the same time overwhelming because there's just so much hitting you all the time. I've been spending the last couple of years immersed in and understanding a lot of the tools that are out there and how they work. And as a consultant, I can help guide companies and leaders do this successfully, because the human, which in the AI world is called HITL, HITL, human in the loop, that
Ah,
that is extremely important, uh, because you want that it needs to be a co job,
yeah,
basically. And it's not that the AI is going to take over you. What the AI will do is, and I'm being really honest, AI systems can displace people. They won't replace people, but they will displace people.
mhm,
And they will be displaced by other people who understand and are confident enough to be able to work with these tools to provide much better results.
absolutely. I appreciate that distinction between displace and replace because I think it's a very important distinction. There's a lot of fear around being replaced and even displaced because if what you do is what you do and it's all you know, where do you go with that? I'm going to do something I almost never do, which is I'm going to share a screen here. I want to just because of what we're talking about in AI. I work with AI quite a bit, if you recall. And I'm going to share, see if I can, there we go. I'm going to share this one app. I think we can do this. Oops. Um, so we're going to go over to, I thought I had a different page up, but we'll find it. There we go.
Any tabs?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was trying to get away from and not show all my tabs. But this is real. This is how I function, which is actually quite well with this. And now I'm looking through Teams. So I'm in the platform that I use daily. This is my marketing platform. And do you recognize this woman here?
Yes, of course. The lovely
Have you met her before?
I have.
You
Actually, it showed me this when we first started talking, and I thought it was really good. It's very well put together, especially for, either women getting started and or want to have a way to collect all their information and be able to present and make it easily accessible. This is a really great tool.
so this person is LeAnn AI, and I've only had her for a little bit, so I wasn't exactly sure when we talked and if she was live at the time, but she has something to say here in just a moment here.
Yeah.
Take a listen. Now, her voice isn't yet ready. Obviously, I'm not quite that flat. But it's fun that she's there and she knows everything about me. I can ask her, when the next Q&A call is or, what other businesses I'm involved in. And so I'm looking for her to displace me.
Mhm.
Not replace. She can't really replace me, but she can displace me to a degree. And the way I have that envisioned, I'm just going to close the screen now, is that she can do things while I'm doing other things.
Yes, she augments you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Um,
she can answer the questions of teammates who are like, wait, what's the link to set up an appointment with LeAnn? Or when is the next Q&A call? Or,
mhm.
all the different questions that she can, or how do I, I have websites. How do I change out this template and make this my own? And she can answer all those questions on the timeline of the people that want the help, where I'm not always available.
Exactly. Yes. No, that's what you would call an agent. So it's
Yeah.
an AI agent with a cloned video and your voice. In fact, I just did a press release on my AI services, and I used my clone to do the announcement. And and that was, I've gotten a lot of kudos for that. But
Very cool.
because then you don't have to be camera ready. You don't have to uh stumble like I did right now, like, you won't have any of that. It's whatever you write, whatever information you give it, it will say. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and there are AI videos, I think I must have shown you that as well, where again, they will use an AI avatar, a woman or a man. They have one or two, but now, I can create videos that are just my voice and it's my AI voice, and it sounds a lot better than my avatar voice at the moment. It does have a lot more personality and it's really fun to use. So, but yeah, it's AI tools are out there. They're meant to, like you said, augment what we can do. I have excuse me, I have the hiccups. Long conversations with my AI once in a while, asking it questions. I woke up the other day and I'm pretty passionate about coffee. One of my side hustles is coffee. And I said, hey, I want to put together an acronym for coffee, but it's around caring for other people and, what can I do? And I just said, threw a couple thoughts out there. It came up with a gorgeous acronym.
ooh,
And I said, wonderful. What's that?
what's the acronym?
What was it? I'd have to actually look that up. Hold on one second. We'll find it because it's fun. So we'll go look at it real quick. So we'll go back here and we'll go into my chat. I was just looking at it again. So go up here to my AI chat. I had this pulled up just recently, so we'll scroll up a little bit. I'll recognize it when I see it. There we go. So I said, good morning. I'm trying to come up with an acronym for the word coffee that relates to the process of carrying first. I don't even fix my typos anymore. It's just smart enough, right? Carrying is what I meant to say. I was probably using the little microphone on my phone to talk this instead of type it. For other people before jumping in and offering a solution. My initial idea is that C could stand for care, O can stand for offer, but let's see what you come up with. And it came up with C for compassion, O for observe, F for feel, F for facilitate, E for engage, and E for empower. And then I said, help me develop a 15-minute key it about this. I meant keynote, but my little Siri microphone heard me wrong and typed that instead. And it produced this for again, podcasters, you're not going to see this if you're just listening to this podcast, but a very long, here's what you do. Introduction for 2 minutes, C for compassion, 2 minutes, O for observe, 2 minutes, E for, and it goes all the way down, writing out a 15-minute keynote that I could use. Now you could take it further and have it develop slides. And I mean, there's so much that you can do with AI. And if I really did want to do this keynote, I have it all laid out for me right here.
Yes. No, it's amazing the things that it can do. Of course, I look at it also from the technical side, and there are a lot of gotchas and things that you want to understand and be aware. And both from the safety perspective, from the privacy perspective, from the implementation and how it interacts with other tools. Sometimes tools don't get along.
Yep, for true.
And also I always focus on the tools that I know that me and my team and my partners have validated or have vetted. So those are the things, but there are a lot out there, and,
Absolutely.
and it's amazing. So with
So you were saying,
yes, on the tech side, it's very important to understand a little bit of the tech and work with people who are working with it. There's a lot of companies out there that put out things, and but they never worked in software companies where you roll out products and that are being used in enterprises and stuff that know what has to happen. And
right.
my observations, as I study for more than 3 decades, I've studied trends on technologies and how they're impacting society. And all of this has driven me towards the brain science side of things because more and more, the acceleration of the of innovations are hitting us at times when we get inundated with so much data that
Yeah,
very difficult to find the time to make sense of it all. And your brain is a meaning making machine. It
absolutely.
needs to make meaning out of what is out there, what's happening. And when it doesn't, or when there is too much uncertainty, it will frustrate. The brain will frustrate, and that is why it doesn't function. It's sort of like on this loop. You know, those times when you can't think clearly,
Mm-hmm.
those are one of the times.
Boy,
So
I was there. I had like 4 nights in a row of 4 hours of sleep per night, and I was just sleep deprived. I've heard of people doing way worse than that. And I just felt like I was walking through a haze as and then travel and switching time zones, and your brain can get really off. And I want to get back to the neuroplasticity, but a quick question based on what you said. So, are you a coder?
uh, I used to be many, many years ago. I was in the database labs of Hewlett Packard, and
Okay.
then I
Girl coder. Girl coders rock. Let's go.
my near buddies, you know, when I started to move more towards the marketing side, product management, and then later program management, they say you're going to the dark side, you know.
Well, I say coding. I'm a coder too, and coding is fun to a degree, but it has its own dark side, quite frankly. It can really mess with your brain too. You know, you miss one period and everything is off. So I'm just curious. I want to go back and ask you a couple other questions. You're in neuroplasticity and everything that you're doing now. You've done a lot of cool stuff, but is that what you went into right out of college?
Oh no, no, not at all. And in fact, this is great. Thank you for asking because a lot of people have a hard time, and especially younger people. They're like, well, I'm studying this, but I don't think it's what I really want to do.
Yeah.
And then they're like they're lost because like they're looking back at what they have studied,
Yeah.
um and it's horrible, but what is important to realize is that you can jump off to anything at any time as long as you're bringing your capabilities and adding value to a certain area. I mean, I've gone from high tech industry to biotech industry to nanotech to neuroscience to AI, and I don't have a science degree. So biotech, but yet I was in there. I don't have a nanotech or material science degree, and yet I was in there. I ran my own organization, and I got to be known worldwide. And I was in magazines and interviews and all sorts of things. So it is about taking what you have and making something out of it. I think a great analogy, even though I don't consider myself a good cook, a good analogy is that you take what's in the fridge and you concoct something.
Mhm.
And that is the best thing that you can do because you'll find that you have so many possibilities. And then it's when you see all these possibilities, like, oh my gosh, how do I choose? Well, choose based on what you think you would just like the most.
Mhm.
Not what's going to get you the most money, not what's going to get you the most fame. What makes you happy? What
Yeah.
resonates with your heart?
100%.
Most importantly, what resonates with your values.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. And I'm going to jump back to the recipe because I'm really not a great cook. I mean, like I need a recipe, or I prefer that my husband just cooks. It's just always the default. Like, can you cook? But one day I decided to surprise him and cook something. And I opened up the refrigerator. I'm like, I'm lost. I have no idea. So I grabbed my AI and I said, okay, here's what I've got in the fridge. And I started listing off ingredients, and it was like mushrooms and eggs and, just random stuff. I said, what can I make? And it ended up giving me a great suggestion with very detailed instructions on how to make it. And I made it, and both of us loved the meal. And
Great.
so, again, this is a creative way of using a technology that people are like, well, AI, that's about creating social posts and writing emails. No, get creative and use your AI for almost anything. I've used it at the store to tell me about information. Not It's not like doing price comparisons, but it was able to tell me which magnesium I wanted to get for the particular purpose that I wanted to take the magnesium and so forth, which is sleep. Um, but yeah, you can use AI tools for a lot of different things. I'm going to go back again, though, to high school. What were you studying, or what did you think you were going to go into in high school?
Ah, wow. Yes, good question. I'm like thinking back.
I know. It's a ways for some of us.
It's, I knew in high school that I would go and study something that was going to make me a professional and someday have my own business.
Okay.
Literally did think that one mainly because I was born very, very poor. I mean, I was born on welfare. My single mom with no education. Well, seventh grade education, and I could see how she suffered. So from the time that I was very young, I knew that I did not want to grow up like her.
Mm,
And she was unhappy, depressed, angry, um, not joyful.
yeah.
And so I knew that. I knew. So what I did just instinctively is that, okay, if what she does has led her to this, then I'm going to do the opposite.
Sure.
So I fought to stay in school. Most kids just want to get out and skip school and stuff. No, I fought to stay in school because I needed to get that education.
Yep.
That was in high school. And after high school, I didn't go to college right away because I was working two, three
Mm,
jobs at a time because I wanted to learn and I wanted to earn.
yeah.
And then at some point, I did try to start a couple of businesses.
Hmm.
One of them, I don't know if you recall Egghead Software.
I do recall that name.
Yeah, it was a huge franchise that sold off the rack software products.
Okay.
And I wanted to start one of those. I mean, and I moved to another city. Here I am, I'm 17 because I graduated at 16. So instead of going and partying with my friends, I'm in some other place, some cheap apartment, sleeping on the floor
Mm,
while working the night shift at a distribution warehouse so that I could study the area and look for retail spots. I was going for an SBA loan, Small Business
huh?
Administration. And I did all of this work in sacrifice. And the reason I was doing is because I had a silent investor who
Oh,
put in the 20% injection for the
okay.
as a woman, and I'm sharing this obviously vulnerably, and it was painful at the time because I spent almost a year doing all that work. And when the time came, that silent investor started to show his real colors, and basically he didn't want to just own part of the business, he wanted to own me.
Yeah.
And I
And
couldn't.
we're talking about, the 1970s, 80s.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I was not going to do that. So
Good for you.
I go back home, you know, miserable, heartbroken.
Yeah.
And then I decided that's when I started martial arts.
Yeah.
And that just, fueled me in
Yeah.
a positive way. And I decided then to start college. 10 years
Yeah.
after high school, I started college. And it's the best thing. And I
Yeah.
go after the hardest subjects, the hardest, sports, like handball. And it's I loved it because the more I challenged myself, and I used to say, because I was in a I grew up in a border town to Mexico, right?
Okay.
So if I knew that if I went to the university, I could have gone to the college locally, but it's like
Sure.
not good enough. You know? If I can make it at the University of Texas in Austin, which is huge, population of 45,000 students, I
Right.
can make it anywhere.
Right.
And that's what I did. And from there, that got me into the high tech industry. I made my way through and I impressed a interviewer from Hewlett Packard.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my high tech career started.
Wow.
So I did that, and it's great because I learned the enterprise, environments. I got to where I was working and dealing with C-level executives that were clients. I'm having drinks with this chief technology officer of NASDAQ,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and his wife, like, and it was just amazing. I learned so much. And then when the dot-com, imploded,
Yeah.
I together with tens of thousands of my colleagues, we end up on the streets. And that's that gave me the opportunity to get back to my entrepreneurial desires.
Out
So
of curiosity, so you had, quote unquote benefactor, if you will, earlier that was not so good. But did you also later then have benefactors that really did take you under their wing, recognizing maybe that you came from a household of, and through some poverty and so forth, and helped you raise up and figure things out? Or
um,
did you really just have to figure it out all on your own?
for the vast majority of my career, I had to figure it out on my own.
Okay,
And it's not because there weren't people around me, it was myself that I couldn't trust.
sure,
Had trouble trusting, not just because of that one situation. There was like so many people in my environment growing up in my early job experiences where I knew I couldn't trust most
sure.
around me.
Yeah,
So I had to figure out on my own, but I knew that whatever I did was my decision. And if I was wrong, then I would just learn from it. And
yeah.
it's okay because it's okay for me to fail if it was my decision. And that is another one of those values and virtues of being accountable.
Hmm.
I set really high standards for myself, which meant I set high standards for others around me.
Right. Absolutely.
And
So I have another question for you. So I know we don't prep these questions. Like I never do. And yet, the why I want to talk with you and why I do the show at all is I really want to dig in and share with prospective entrepreneurs, sometimes what it takes. And, and you're in a unique position. Some of us, and I think I'm one of them, that felt like from a young age, at some point I was going to own my own business. I also was doing businesses, if you will, even as a kid. I'd sell golf balls on a golf course, you know. I was the top person selling candles for my gymnastics team or whatever it was I could sell. And I liked to. Although it was funny when I first met my husband, he's like, "You'd be great at sales." And I'm like, "Ew, that's so gross." Because I learned culturally that people say sales is gross, but it's really not. And once I, you know, actually got into sales and really excelled, I had a lot of fun. Oh, and a lot of money. I couldn't believe it. However, I want to go back a little further before high school. I'm actually going to have you go back a little further in your memories, and we're going to go like pre-junior high school. So upper elementary school, not really at a point where you can have a job or anything, but where you're plenty independent and looking for, things to do on a summer afternoon. What were you doing?
Um, well, I had to do a lot of chores.
Yeah.
Um, and again, because we were very poor,
Hmm.
have a lot of playtime. It was always work, and that was part of the culture. So it I would play a little bit, but then I was always sort of the outsider because I was not always having these what we now call play dates.
Yeah, right, right.
I was not part of the little groups or whatever. It was very opportunistic. So like I said, I was the outsider. And but that's okay because that's not really what interested me. I I had bigger interests. My grandfather would come and visit at least once a week, and he would give us all the grandchildren. He would give us a nickel, and I was planning, and in fact, I did. I found a little burial place where I would bury these nickels, so
Yeah.
I have you know, um, money for later for when I needed it. I mean, it's like
Uh-huh.
really, I'm like 7, 8, and
Right.
uh, I would just go to school. I wasn't allowed to do any after school things. Um, and I would have to get back home right after school. So it was pretty limited.
Okay. But when you had some free time, I mean, did you draw? Did you sing? Was there, uh, any opportunity towards technology or what kind of things would you do if you had free time?
Technology.
What's that?
Definitely no technology.
No technology. I mean, even in school?
No, in school I liked no, that was high school. Let's see. I mean, I just really liked all the classes.
Yeah.
I liked learning.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Really like school. I was just absorbing it.
Yeah.
And on
And you still do.
yes, on most things I was just trying to, you know, get ahead. Yeah, in fact, I gamified my way through even up to high school where I would I trained myself to pick up all the class material just from the lessons, in class and not have to do a lot of homework.
My girl.
It's and it got to I think middle school. My math teacher said, "Oh yes, I was incented in middle school to finish the work that I had to do, and if I finished early, I could play poker with the teacher,
Okay.
learning to play cards." And it's always me and this other young boy who would finish quickly. So he and I were, but usually I would beat him. And in the end, we had this little competition going. In the end, I beat him. But those are the things that gave me joy.
Yeah.
It's not that, oh, look at me, I'm so great. I just wanted to improve because I knew that every step where I would improve and develop, that it would get me further away from, what could have been me being another statistic.
Yeah. So tell me, how does that, now that we've dug into that pretty good, how does that relate to what you're doing today? Because you love what you're doing today. It's clear. But think about what's the relationship between that, what we were just talking about, and what you're doing now?
Well, it has everything to do with what I do now.
Yeah.
That's because in general, life sucks. I mean, life can suck. There's so many things, and it's out of control, out of our control.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that some people are good at working with coaches, that they really want to, learn and improve for their own sake,
Yeah.
and some are not. I was not. Again, but that's because uh, I had a trust issue. So because I recognize that, when I'm working with someone, I try to first find out like how authentic they are
Mm-hmm.
themselves, and where they want to go, and whether they really want to put in the work. I mean, I have to tell you, I've been so disappointed sometimes. Well, I mean, it's not my job to approve or disapprove by any means, but I've been so disappointed when I'll have someone tell me, "Oh, yes, I want to like really grow my business and all this stuff." And then I start to do a lot of work, a lot of prep behind the scenes to help that client do and move forward. But then they're moving at a 2 clicks at least slower than I am, and like no sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Babe, I'm spending the whole my weekend to get this stuff for you so you can really get going and don't miss this window of opportunity. Um, it's it's disheartening, but
Mm-hmm.
then at some point they learn. Just like I learned to trust,
Yeah.
they will learn that, you know what, the windows of opportunities, either you're too distracted to notice them, or you just don't know how to detect them.
Yeah.
And those two things are tragic.
Yeah. We have already gone way past even the 45-minute mark. Can you believe it? This just flew by. And I know there's so much more that we could uncover and get into. And I'm sure listeners are like, but wait, I want to ask her about this or I want to hear that. So we're going to have to, at this point, say, hey, how can people find you? What's the best way to get in contact with you, or who are you really wanting to work with so you can call out your ideal client to connect with you?
Sure. Well, thank you. People can get a hold of me through my website, adrianavela.expert. Uh,
Okay.
yes. Yes, it's
And just to spell it, your name is spelled Adriana, V as in Victor, ELA, dot expert. So
yes.
just to be clear, because people will make this mistake, it's not adrianavela.expert.com. It's just adrianavela.expert. Enter. Okay, good job. And where else? Where can they find you on social media or more about articles, anything?
And I'm on Facebook. So Adriana Vela. Yeah, you'll find me, I think, pretty easily. And
Okay.
I should have printed out my URLs and put them here in the background for those that are seeing. But yes, adrianavella.expert, there's a contact there. Contact me, especially if you are the type of individual that wants to really discover what they're made of and want to do something with it. You know, some people take decades before they learn something about themselves, and that, oh my gosh, all this time, this has been keeping me back. If you want to know really who you are and how to get the most out of your brain, make your brain work for you and not against you,
Yeah.
contact me and we'll see how we can work together, because I'd love to support people like that.
Well, that is wonderful. There are so many benefits to working with coaches, and I just really admire what you do. I admire your journey that you've taken to get where you are. I was going to say, is there any last thing you'd like to share? But that was just so lovely.
Especially since we've gone over time, but no, definitely my last thing was I can help you make your brain work for you and not against you.
And you've done that for yourself. Like we said at the beginning, you have to lead before you can lead.
Yes,
You have to
me
lead yourself before you can lead others. And you've done that. You've made your brain work for yourself. And now you're ready to share and help others do the same.
yes. So
That's beautiful.
it doesn't require you to be a business person and have your own business. You're a professional. You can
Nope.
housemaker. You can do any, but you lead yourself and you be in charge of you. Be in the
Yeah.
driving seat of your own life.
And I think we did cut out just a moment earlier. You are available on LinkedIn as well. I think for some reason the microphone faded a minute, but we connected over LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place to connect with professionals. So thank you, Adriana. It was so wonderful having you here today.
So much for having me. I so enjoyed chatting with you and learning about you and your martial arts and stuff.
We have fun here. So at this point, I'm going to say thank you to our audience as well. Thank you for joining us on this journey to unleash your joyful business potential. Remember, leadership is a voyage that you can take together with others. So keep shining and aligning with your purpose. And come back next week and every week at 2 p.m. Pacific time exclusively on winwinwomen.tv. Of course, you can find our podcasts all over the place, everywhere you look. Look for Win Win Women right now, but coming soon, I'll have my own channel as well. And for our next inspiring episode. Until next time, this is LeAnn Lyon, your Chief Joy Officer, signing off. And keep leading with heart, and I'll catch you on the next wave of success. And we'll close this.